Hi everybody, good evening and welcome. It's time again for the Fairfax Sports Report. This week we'll be talking about Northern Virginia Officials Association and with me, Football Officials Association. And with me tonight we have our special guest, the Commissioner of the NVFOA, Dennis Hall, and President of NVFOA, Rossie Alston Jr. with us this evening. And we hope that you enjoy everything you're about to learn about football officiating. And we'll be right back after this. We're back here in studio. I'm Lee Bailey, and as I said before, we have special guests this evening. We're talking about football officiating and what you can do to become a football official, just like the officials we have with us tonight. Dennis Hall is in the studio with us tonight, along with Rossie Alston Jr. Dennis is the commissioner of the Northern Virginia Football Association, Officials Association, and Rossie is the president. You guys, welcome to the program this evening. Before we get into the program, I'd like to talk about our sponsors. And real quick, let's talk about CCI Screen Printing. CCI Screen Printing, Strong Arm Sports, and of course, there's CCI Screen Printing. Thanks to our teammates at CCI Screen Printing, Dan Wallingsford, and Strong Arm Sports. And as always, for information about the programs and what's going on around the Northern Region and Fairfax sports, just go to www.fairfaxsportsnetwork.com. That is our website, and you can get all the information you'd ever want from that. Now, I have this big thing on my little run sheet here, guys, that says Discussion Football Officiating. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight.
Sounds good.
Dennis Hall, thank you for being here tonight. Rossie Alston Jr., make sure we throw the junior in there so your dad knows that we're not talking to him. Anyway, thanks for being with us tonight. And let's start off, first of all, with the program by talking about the fact that you guys are always looking for officials for the NVFOA, and that there's some training coming up here in the next little while. And there's always, actually, you have training kind of ongoing because you're always taking in officials, right?
We start in the summer every year. Roughly 3 months before the season starts, and do everything we can to get people in because you continuously lose them, and there's also so many new schools coming on in this area. I believe there's 5 schools coming on in the next 3 years for our association. We do 77 schools. It takes a lot of people. Most of them play Friday nights.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so let me find out real quick from you guys exactly what is. Let's talk about functionality of the Northern Virginia Football Association, the Officials Association. What does the commissioner, for instance, do? And we'll talk about also what the president does. What do you do as the commissioner? You're not allowed to be on the field anymore.
No.
Is that part of the
I
job?
spent 31 years on the field, and when I became commissioner, I had to step down.
Step down, but you're still out there every Friday night and Thursday nights and whenever, right? And you're in a paid position, as Rossie was telling me before. I said, what is the difference between president and the commissioner? He said, well, he gets paid.
And all the headaches. So.
And he gets all the headaches. Yeah. Tell me a little bit, what is your normal week during the season?
Well, it starts in July, really, the nitty-gritty of it. I have to contact all the schools, get their schedules, enter them in the computer, have the computer assign the games throughout the year. But my main function is assigning games at the varsity level. We've had a deputy commissioner years past. Last year I did both of them, and we assigned over 2,000 games, mainly because of the sniper situation. We had 500 games that had to be reassigned with all the sniper hassle. The normal day for me starts about 6 or 6:30 with somebody calling, whether it's an official or a coach or an athletic director, sometimes the press, but mostly it has to do with immediate games that day. It ends about 1 or 2 o'clock the next morning. and I get a few hours sleep and start all over again. We have 189 officials. We run about 50 varsity games a week. We run about 150 sub-varsity games a week. We do some recreation football, probably 25 to 30 recreation games on a Saturday.
How many different, you guys do the northern region. Do you also apply officials for, what other organizations do you, like you just said, you do some recreational
Right. We do
stuff.
the northern, in AAA, which is the highest level in Virginia, we do the northern region. We do the Cedar Run District, which is down the Stafford area. We do Cardinal District. We do Commonwealth District. We do the Northwest District, which is AA football, runs from Sterling, from Sterling down to Winchester. We do single A football with Bull Run District, which is George Mason, Brentsville, Manassas Park. And we do the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference, which is the old
You do
Metro
all their
Conference. We do all their games. We do
Okay.
the Interstate Athletic Conference, which is Georgetown Prep, St. Albans, Episcopal, St. Stephen's, what have you. So 77 schools total. 78. We got a new school coming in Loudoun County this year, Dominion.
Now, Rossie, when you guys go to state games, state semifinals, now they bring in groups that are not affiliated with that area, right? Do you guys go down?
Once you get to the state level, state semifinals, state finals, the games are essentially assigned by the Virginia High School League. So they're not assigned to the Northern Virginia Football Officials Association. But if we're fortunate enough to receive the opportunity to work a state semifinal or a state final game, the commissioner, as the assigner for the association, would be responsible for choosing the people who would have the opportunity to participate in those games. But all games up to the state semifinal and state final are assigned by the commissioner of the association. And typically we're dealing with schools who are in our association, so he would be responsible for a good number of games during that time of the season.
Sure. Okay. Let's talk about the nuts and bolts of officiating as far as football is concerned. Because really, I think what we're doing tonight is, in the program that people are watching, I would like to, and I think you guys want to do this also, is kind of give people who are out there watching an idea of what it is that would be expected from them as an official, and what kind of person, let's start off with that, what kind of person are we talking to? What kind of person, for instance, I want you to say to our viewing audience, if you're the kind of guy that likes this, or gal that likes this, or this, give us a call, and we definitely want you to give out your the website and all that kind of information for information about the Officials Association. Well, let's see if we can't get some people calling up and joining you guys for this fall, whatever level. We'll talk about what levels they would start at, but tell me, what kind of person do you think should get involved in high school officiating?
Basically, the only person who shouldn't, if they want to do it for the money. Although you can make money doing it, you don't do it for the money. You could probably make more money at McDonald's working a part-time job than you could officiating. If you like football, a lot of our officials love football. The women that we have in our association have this great love of football, and that's the only thing you need. We teach you anything and everything. We teach you all the rules, how to take the test. We teach you where to go on the field, when to go there on the field. Our training program is very in-depth, and we're very proud of our training program. We've actually reduced it 1 year in the last couple of years because it's so much more intense now. The concept is we're not going to put you out there until we know you can do the job. We're not going to let you embarrass yourself, and we're not going to let you get scared to death going out there. We teach you anything and everything you need to know. We will start you at the recreation level. We will advance you as you fit into the program, the high school freshman and JV level. Some people excel in their first year and can get a varsity game. It's very rare. It might happen on one of these nights where we're just so overloaded we have to squeeze some people in there. We don't like to do that, but we won't do it unless they're ready. We'll go reduced number before we'll put somebody out there who's not ready. That's not fair to the athletes or to the official. But we do a good job of training our officials.
Rossie, let me ask you, what kind of person is an official in the Northern Virginia? I mean, you guys have judges that officiate in the Northern Virginia Football Officials Association? You have two? I know you're one of them.
And
the Honorable Rossie Alston Jr.
And Tom Kelly up in Arlington. But the type of person, and Dennis touched on it real well when he talked about the love of football. It's not a sexual thing. It's not dealing with man or woman, boy or girl. If you love the game, then you could love having the opportunity to be a good football official. But another thing that I get real enjoyment out of is opportunity to share time with the kids. Because if you officiate football long enough as a rec league official or a varsity official or whatever, every now and then you're going to see that kid who 15 years down the road is going to make it. You see this kid who is 9 years old and who's got skills at 9 years, and you say to yourself, that kid may make it one day. And then you look on TV and you see that kid playing at the professional level. We've had kids come through our program that we've seen, the Jonathan Ogdens, the Heck kid, all of these players who were basically rec league ball players on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock and who are now or were in the NFL. Right. One of the things I like to talk about is I got to see in a state final game several years ago, Allen Iverson, when he was the quarterback for one of the schools in the eastern section of Virginia. And he was as good a football player as he is a basketball player now. And that was exciting, seeing someone at 17 years old who went on to become actually an excellent athlete in another sport. So if you like kids, that's a real opportunity. And if you like to stay in shape, that's another thing that you get out of it.
Let me ask you that also, Rossie. I'll give this one to you. One of the things we were talking about before we came on the program, Fred was talking about a friend of his is an official, and he said he's running all the time. He's got to get in shape over the summer for fall ball. And, what kind of, again, we're talking to the people at home. If you're sitting at home watching this show and you don't get off your couch very often, even though you love football, you're probably not a real good candidate to come out and be an official if you're not in the best of shape, right?
That's true, and it's not only unfair to you as an individual out there trying to do a job, but it's unfair to the kids. The kids deserve the very best that you can give them. So I would suggest to anyone who is sitting there thinking, well, maybe I'd like to give this a go. Maybe you need to start doing a little walking now and a little running later, and then work your way to going to the gym. In the off season, I'm in the gym 3 days a week. And I work hard because I want to stay in shape and I want to stay in the game. Interestingly enough, when I was a young man, I was not big enough to play the game. So this is my one opportunity to run out on the field on Friday night, and that's a treat for me.
That's cool. Tell me a little bit about physical, when you come down to coming out to be an official, what kind of standards do you have to meet?
Well, they've changed a lot over the years because of lawsuits in the past and all throughout the country. We don't tell you what shape to be in. Right. And if you are in a bad shape, you can always be a clock operator.
Right.
So we need clock operators too. We recommend that you have a physical. We recommend you take care of yourself. But because of the way society is in litigation, we do not tell you what shape you have to be in. Mm-hmm. It's going to affect your performance. If you can do the job, no matter what shape you're in, you'll get every opportunity.
Right.
And that's the way it should be. The only requirements we have, you have to be 18 years old. You can be male, you can be female, and you can't be a felon.
Right.
That's Virginia High School League.
And that's why they have judges in the NVFOA
That's
to
right.
make sure they check you out.
Right. But, no, we years ago we used to do a mile run every year, and they kind of frown on that now. Even the colleges don't do that anymore.
Okay.
They just they don't want that potential litigation.
But when you get down to working it out on the field and stuff, if you don't get to your spot where you're supposed to be in enough time, then you can't be in that position.
Right.
Just like on a team.
Kids can move.
Right.
Kids can move, and you've got the whole concept of officiating is all the rules in high school are designed for safety and unfair advantage, and you want 2 sets of eyes on every play. So wherever that ball's going and there's people involved in it, you want at least 2 officials on the crew covering it. And if one of them can't get there, that puts a strain on the other person.
Okay, now the referee stands behind the quarterback.
Right.
And I'm coming around to something I wanted to that I remember seeing in the game. Is the umpire that stands in the middle of the backfield of the defense?
Yes. The linebackers. Right.
All right, okay. Now the umpire, I remember one time we were watching a game and there's an umpire about my size, I guess. And he's back there, and the wide receiver came around and came across, and he was looking at the quarterback. He ran right into that umpire. The umpire didn't even move. The guys, boom, boom, hit the ground. So there's some place for some big guys out there. That's probably where you want to put your big guy.
Usually, the whole thing depends on how you move. I mean, we've got some back judges who is the gentleman in the defensive secondary who's supposed to have most of the speed on the field, but we've had some pretty good-sized guys back there. As long as they can move and get to the position they need to be in, that's fine.
We'll talk a little bit more about some more officiating, but first let's real quick give everybody information and contact information, how to get in touch with the NVFOA. Go ahead and run it down.
Okay, they can, if they want to look at it first, go to our website. It's www.nvfoa.com. That'll give you some insight before you even can contact anybody if you want. Or you can call me, I'm the commissioner, at 703-532, now this part's hard, 0000, and I'll be glad to talk to you. Some people call me and then I tell them to go to the website, and that might strike some questions up, and I'll try to answer anything I can. We'll talk to you day or night, anytime. Call me at any time of the day. People get interested in it. We've had a lot of people contact us early this year. I guess all the action during the NFL playoffs spurned some people's thoughts, and people have been contacting us a lot. A lot of it has been because of our website, which is our webmaster does an outstanding job. And our training starts usually 3 months before the season starts. Season starts first week of September or the last week of August, and we train and teach you everything.
Okay. Now, let me ask you real quick. Let's say someone's sitting at home right now, and they got their summer booked up with all kinds of family stuff going on, whatever. But they might be interested in coming out and helping out. Mm-hmm. You take somebody off the street and train them, like you said. It doesn't take a whole lot to be an ECO, does it? No. We train you that too. The ECO exam is 20 questions, and but they're if you don't know football, you can mess it up. But we'll teach you everything you need to know on that. All you have to do is know what the signals are on the field. You watch the referee and the rest of the officials, and they'll tell you when to start and stop the clock. But we'll take people anytime during the summer up to when the season starts. And the worst scenario is if you come in real late, you'll work a little bit, and you'll just be picking up a little earlier next year. So right.
We don't want to discourage anybody from it. We've got right now 13 officials that have over 25 years experience in our association. People stay around a long time.
Rossie, how long have you been doing this, Rossie?
About 15 years. I got interested. I was watching a high school football game. I just went to a game, and I was sitting in the stands, and I happened to see a fellow on the field that I knew from bowling. And at the next bowling league meeting we had, I went up to him and I said, "Hey, how do you do this football officiating stuff?" And he said, "You need to come to the meeting." And I went to a meeting, and I've never been the same since. I've never watched a football game, and they hooked me. It's everything I love. It's sports and it's rules. So what's not to like?
And what better? Sounds like a perfect. You got to get some of your other judges on the bench around the Prince William County, and you got to get them involved.
Yeah, never know. You never know.
I met this lady judge a couple weeks ago. Anyway, we won't go into that. She'd be a good official, I think.
Put her in the middle.
That's right, exactly. Talk to me a little bit about positioning. Now, we alluded a little bit to the team out there. Now, the guys, do you have a team of guys that do games together, or
at the varsity
do you mix
level.
them up? At the
varsity level, we work crew system. We have 24 crews, and they work every week together. The sub-varsity, it's a little bit different because we try to schedule you nearer home. Right. When you work varsity football, you can go to any one of our 77 schools, and we want the crews to go together. So sub-varsity, if in Rossie's case, he has one guy lives in Washington, he lives in Prince William County.
Another guy
one lives in Arlington, one lives in Fairfax, and Jerry lives in Prince William, or Dale City or Alexandria. He moves back and forth a lot. But anyhow, we couldn't put them all together every Wednesday or Thursday for sub-varsity, so they'll work near their homes or near their work, whichever they choose to work at. And
also, at the sub-varsity level, that's really a kind of a training field for you too, isn't it?
Well, not to those kids.
Not really?
To those kids. We might work people in different positions, like when somebody wants to be a referee, which is the crew chief, we'll work them at the sub-varsity level to get them acclimated to the position. But we still strive, if you're there, that's a varsity game for those kids at the freshman JV level. Same thing with rec football. We don't cut anything from the games to take away from the athletes, because that is everything to them. But we know that's why we develop our younger officials also.
One of the neatest things that I had an opportunity to see about 3 years ago is I was working a recreation league game up in Vienna, and the game before I worked had 3 officials on the field who had a total of about 100 years of experience amongst the 3 of them, and they were out there on a Saturday morning giving those kids the benefit of their experience and giving them a good game like it was their Super Bowl. And in the NVFOA, that's how we treat every game. Every game is important to the kids playing, and we take pride in making sure that we address those needs.
And the parents too. Now, there's been a lot of talk in recent years about the sportsmanship of the fans Now, how does that affect the football officials? I know that you guys are a little bit more removed from the fans than other sports. In other sports, the fans sometimes are right up there. You know, in baseball, they're right behind the umpire, just giving him lip the whole game. Or at least in the past, I think they've really reined that in. Tell me how that's affected football. Has that affected you guys at all?
I've been on both sides of it. 1990, I worked this regional final at WNL with Marshall in Yorktown, and a very good football game. Marshall was highly favored, and they ended up at 6 inches from the goal line at the end of the game, and I was assaulted by a spectator. The police let him go. We ended up finding out who it was, took him to court. They slapped him on the wrists, and that was it. Unfortunately, it was a 3-year start. The next 2 years, an official was assaulted each year. They've tried to get legislation passed throughout the country. Unfortunately, Virginia has not supported it yet. I went to Richmond 2 years ago in front of the legislature, along with a number of other officials, and they threw it down.
Well, if it happens again, make sure they get in Prince William County.
Another one of the nice things that we can make reference to is that in the northern region and in Prince William County and Stafford County, the athletic directors do a very good job as far as crowd control. Typically, you have security through the boosters, and in Fairfax County, in the Fairfax County Youth League, the commissioner of that league, Mark Biana, does a fantastic job making sure that his fields are well policed, making sure that there's security there. So we really don't have as many issues as we have had in the past. Obviously, you'll get a fan out there who doesn't know the rules and who thinks his son or daughter is going to be the next Bart Starr, Joe Namath, who wants to take it out on you because they're not going to live up to his expectation or her expectation. But the bottom line is I think we have a lot of good parents and good administrators who work hard to make sure that the officials are protected to the extent that they can do it.
Okay. Tell me about rule changes this year. Any rule changes coming up that people can look forward to in the fall or not look forward to?
Trick question.
Yeah, sorry, I threw that at you.
Probably the biggest one this year is in high school you now have, it only was a clip in the past. You didn't have blocking in the back. Now there's blocking in the back, which is a 10-yard penalty compared to 15 yards for a clip. A lot of officials have called them blocking in the backs over the years because they didn't think it was that violently hit or what have you, but by rule it was always a clip. Most of the other rules changes are technical type things, like you can block below the waist at the line of scrimmage. This year they're stating you have to be tackle to tackle, just to define a little bit more who can and cannot block below the waist. There's no blocking below the waist anywhere else in high school football.
Well, one of the things you mentioned that you guys are going to be enforcing, this is for all of our Pete Bendorf, we won't mention any other names because he's still not a coach anymore, so we can say Pete, but no more drifting out onto the field, right?
By rule, coaches need to stay in the coaching box. But you don't, enforce it all the time.
Sure.
Coaches need to come out, talk to their players, and it's always nice they go back. Unfortunately,
They forget sometimes.
Sure.
Dennis?
Sure, and it happens, but unfortunately it's getting a little more out of hand at all levels. And what's one of our emphasis this year is the coaches need to know where they are and how to get back. By rule, you can only have 3 coaches in the coaching box anyhow, and the rest of them have to be back with the team. We don't enforce that a whole lot. If they have 7 or 10 coaches and they're all in the coaching box, to us that's fine. But if problems occur, then we'll have to go a step further. We're not out there to be the enemy of the coaches, even though everybody thinks that the coaches and the officials have the same common goal. They love the game, they like working with the kids, and it's not controlled chaos like a lot of people think it is.
Do you ever go to the head coach and say, listen, I need to talk to your get-back coach? I remember on our football team we had a get-back coach. And that guy's job was to tell all the players to stay back so the referees didn't fine them or foul them.
The best get-back coach, if that's what you want to call it, I saw this year in the state semifinal, we sent a crew to New Kent. And they played on Sunday because the snow that happened that weekend. And they had this gentleman who walked up and down the sidelines and said, everybody back. The head coach walked out. He went right up to the head coach, put his hand in his face and said, you need to be 2 yards back. And the head coach walked right back. It's the best one I've ever seen.
And that sounds like, I've seen there, believe it or not, there's teams that I know that's the coach says, listen, that's your job. Just like in basketball, it's a job when a guy jumps up off the bench, he has a coach that grabs him by the shirt tails and pulls him back.
Right.
to hold me back.
You don't want to penalize the kids or something like that, but if it becomes unfair advantage, you have to.
Right.
So it's a give and take type thing.
Well, we're almost out of time. I told you guys this would go really quick, but let's real quick again. Let's give your website information and your contact information for anybody who might be interested in being a Northern Virginia football official and joining the association. Here's the information. It's www.nvfoa.com, or you can email Dennis Hall, the commissioner at nvfoa.com, or give Dennis a call, 703-532-0000, and they will set you up. You guys can use the help. How many referees do you? How many officials do you guys? Do you need officials?
Oh, absolutely. All sports need officials. You can never get enough. We like to bring 40 to 50 new people into our training program every year, and if we keep 20 to 25 of those, that would be marvelous.
How many do you lose typically every year?
It varies. Last year I had to replace 13 members on varsity crews, which is the hardest thing to do.
Right.
I mean, that's 13 experienced officials. Right now, this year, I have to replace 3.
All right. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being here tonight. And
Don't forget to tell the ladies. Don't forget to tell the ladies.
And the ladies, you guys
sign
can
up for
be
football.
officials also. Make sure
Absolutely.
you give them a call. That's it for Fairfax Sports Report. I'm Lee Bailey, and we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Take care.